Tonight on PM Express, the parliamentary majority in the eye of the Keta storm. We're going to have a one-on-one interview with the Afenyo-Markin. He's the deputy majority leader on the back of the conversations that had divided parliament and got to a head on Friday, if you had watched, while the people of Keta were left, of course, marooned by the tidal waves. This became a major subject of controversy in Parliament. And it all started with a press conference addressed by Mr. Afenyo-Markin himself, where they laid out the challenges that the people of Keta had faced and raised questions about, assessing what has led to the tidal waves that we've seen. Of course, they empathize and sympathize with the people and call for action, but they were very clear in terms of what the causes are when it comes to tidal wave. One of the key things they had highlighted was sand winning as a fundamental cause of what we saw last week. In fact, last week Sunday, when the tidal wave swept through Keta, leaving almost 4,000 people displaced. This conclusion and the evidence that the majority side had presented seemed not to have gone on well with the majority side indeed, because they were not happy with some of the things that had been said there, because they believe the timing was wrong, and that something else, the focus should have been the relief to the people, which many thought had delayed and not going to causes now. And so we had the minority side led by the Member of Parliament, Nelson Dafiamekpo, make the point that sun winning does not cause tidal wave, and that led to this scuffle because they were insisting that the minority was not sympathetic to the people, and they were being insensitive to the plight of the people in Keta, and that the deputy majority leader's comments were unfounded, he claims, and the deputy majority leader is my guest in the studio today. Now, there have been some experts speaking about it, including Professor Kwesi Appiah, whose view on this is pretty clear as far as he's concerned. But if you really look at the bigger picture, we have across the country many areas like Keta with similar challenges, as you can see that the research desk had put forward. This is according to the Ministry of Works and Housing. These are current coastal projects in progress, because one of the key solutions many had put forward on the back of the Keta problem was that finish the Keta Sea Defense Project. And if you look at it, the Keta is not the only place. You have Dansoman, they have their own issues there. The ministry says they are 90% complete. In Keta, phase 1 is done, phase 2 is yet to begin, and there's pressure on government to start that phase. So really, what is really at the heart of this controversy that has led Parliament divide on this important matter? We'll get into that. But there are other key issues in Parliament that I want to ask Mr. Afenyo-Markin. There are three big issues for me. There's, of course, the Keta one. We'll also talk about this parliamentary immunity conversation that keeps coming up. And we heard today from the Speaker that next year, on the back of all that has happened with Sosu, the Parliament will be passing a legislation to flesh out the contempt of Parliament powers, specifying sanctions. And then also the concern about the Ghana Law School, the issues surrounding the General Legal Counsel, an attempt to remove the Attorney General with a motion of censure, which the minority side had passed. I'll get his thoughts on all that, but we'll focus on this when we start. He's my guest after this break. Stay with me. And thank you very much for staying with us here on PM Express. My guest, as I announced earlier, is the Deputy Majority Leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin. Mr. Markin, thank you for your time here on PM Express. We agreed to talk to you because of a video that circulated quite widely just outside the Chamber of Parliament. Watch.
Let's react to it. Let me introduce.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I
Mr. Markin, what was happening there?
I wish I wasn't going to start on this note, but anyway, first of all, thank you for having me on the program. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. It's good to have such a conversation. It helps the national discourse. The video you saw, I've considered it very unfortunate. The practice in Parliament is that either side could mount the podium to express its view by way of a press conference. Our colleagues raised issues on Wednesday, last week Wednesday, and we didn't go closer to them. And then on Friday, our side did some work, and we felt that we needed to put the matter out broadly for a long-term solution. So I, on behalf of the majority, held a press conference with some colleagues by me. The whole thing was started by Ama Kofi Boah, who came shouting. I think your colleague Parker was there. And it's unfortunate those videos are not out, because he came there, stood right there, very unparliamentary, and started shouting to obstruct the whole process and distract me. We ignored that. Then he went in and called the Afenyo-Markin and another MP. I've forgotten his constituency, but I know him. And then they came, and the Afenyo-Markin pulled the document I was holding, and the whole place, the aim of it was to disrupt the whole process. Question is, you've held your press conference 3 days before, then we are holding our press conference. Even if you have your disagreement, after all, that is the essence of politics. You express your view, I express my view. But to come there and behave the way, you did, I mean, quite unfortunate.
So you were being insensitive to the people?
No, I'll come there. And then also, eventually, Ama Kofi Boah came to me to apologize. But I found that to be lame, because they had gone in to organize an attack, and which I found unfortunate.
You saw this as an attack on you?
Yes, because he went in. Ama Kofi Boah went in and brought the Afenyo-Markin and some other MPs. And they did what they did. You see, Evans, sometimes our colleagues act unruly. And I tell them all the time that this is not the way to go. Sometimes be tolerant. Listen, we are in majority. Watch the clips. Pay attention to the debate on the House floor. You will see an NDC MP talking, who will be taking notes. When you rise to talk, they start with heckling.
To be fair, all sides do that.
I am saying that relative to the matter I've raised, check the floor works. You see that a lot of them come from that side. But let's put that aside. Let's come to the
So do you accept that apology, though, that you got from your friend, your colleague?
The Afenyo-Markin.
You said the Boah.
Well, Boah came to me personally, those who were watching came to sit at the front bench and said quietly to me he was sorry. But
you accept that?
To me, no.
You don't accept
he should go, wait. You don't come and embarrass your leader. Boah and I have a good relationship. You don't organize your colleagues to disrupt my press conference, set an agenda. Then when you realize that things are getting out of hand, you come quietly to say, sorry, Afenyo-Markin, may you sorry. No.
Okay.
You have gone quiet. If you want to respect my office and you want to respect me as a colleague, issue a public apology that you started it and you are sorry, because it has never happened.
So that's what you want?
Yes, and that is where I also had a problem with our press, the parliamentary press corps. And God willing, tomorrow I'm going to have a meeting with them to raise my concerns, because I was expecting them to call the NDC MPs out fully.
We can't do that.
Wait, I would tell you why they should have done that. Because it has never happened that MPP press conference, an NDC MP will walk in and start shouting to disrupt it. Go bring people to come and snatch. Can you imagine for a moment if it had been an NPP MP going into an NDC press conference? That guy wouldn't even get to hospital. He will be dead. They will kill him.
That's an exaggeration.
Well, let's assume so. That's the NDC will not tolerate this. No NDC MP. Is it Muntaka who will tolerate that? Or Harun Idrisu? Or Aveji? Or any of their backbenchers? No NDC MP will tolerate an MPP MP going closer to their press conference. And I think that if colleagues want to be sincere, it's up to them though. If they want to be sincere, their whole caucus should issue an apology to the majority to bring this matter to a finality. It's at their discretion. I will leave it there. Let me come to the substance. You see,
first of all, why did you decide to do the press conference? What was it about?
We debated the issue on the floor. I listened to their side. And the Keta MP, Honorable Gakpe, made certain statements. And I told him, when we closed, I told him that, look, my brother, we're here before you. There's a way to resolve a disaster or a crisis of this nature. I recall when I was in opposition, E.T. Mensah, Papa Owusu Nkrumah, and Collins Dauda. Collins Dauda is still with us. Who were backbenchers. There was this situation in Parliament. They said, look, whenever you have crisis in your constituency, engage the other, meaning the minister concerned. So I remember, we had this water crisis 2016. You know, the Ayensu dried up. The first thing I did was to engage Collins Dauda. I went to him in the office. He called Samson Ahi. We went to Winneba. And you know what? We got more tankers serving the people of Winneba than perhaps other places. I was drawing my brother's attention to this. I am from Keta constituency too. Let me finish. I started my school in Chame. I stayed with my grandmother in Chame. I started the Catholic school there in Chame. I know. Whatever concerns the people of Keta.
Part of you is from Keta?
Keta constituency, Chame, is a town, part of the Keta constituency. And I am from Chame.
Which part of you is from there?
My father is from Chame. Okay. My grandmother is Dajezo. I stayed with her. I lived there. I still go there. I built my house there. I know the MP and I know what we have been doing quietly for the constituency. I did not mention this. So when they were bringing this up, and I realized that they were taking a partisan approach, I said, guys, stop it. After all, it's Honorable the Minister for Railway and I who are ever in frontline MPP politics. Why don't you engage us? Why don't you let us talk and engage the minister so that we'll get the solution? But when you start attacking, being partisan, it doesn't solve it. In any event, here is the situation. We've had the phase 1 of the Blekusu Sea Defense Project completed. This is a project that started in their time. But the MPP government did not abandon it. It was completed in 2019. I had engaged the Minister of Works and Housing, Honorable Asensu Boache, and he had told me that, Afenyo, we are pushing hard to get the finance ministry to get us funds to do the phase 2. So I was thinking that, look, if we could move as a caucus, go and discuss this. But you know, what I noticed was that our colleagues were too much into the political point scoring, that they want to score political points. The utterances on the House floor.
Such as?
Evans. If you are making a submission, there's a disaster somewhere, there's crisis, then you make a comment. And I'm quoting Gakwe, that the people of Keta are also Ghanaians. You don't say that. You don't say that.
But he's stating fact.
No, you don't say that. The slant, the approach, the language, the way you are doing it is not proper. At least I'm a senior in the house. So if I tell you guys that, and Honorable Jifa Komeshi had also raised the same issue, and the way she was approaching, I said, look, the way you are going, you don't go it that way. Let us engage. You don't create the impression as if the government is not interested at all. In any event, at the time of the lamentation, NADMO had gone to do assessment. Those relief items that they were talking about, I said, look, blanket will come today, rice will come tomorrow. You have all these. But we need a permanent solution. So the government of my...
But didn't they have a right to complain at the time? This happened on Sunday. Monday, no relief. Tuesday evening before first relief arrived. That was inadequate. They have 15 communities.
You see,
if you come from there as an MP, you definitely will feel that your government had let you down.
Evans,
isn't
there are ways to solve a problem. Do you want a short-term solution, or you want a permanent solution that will give you peace? My focus is on the permanent solution to give all of us peace.
If this is a permanent, you need to do the immediate.
I agree. But that is why I'm saying that in that process, you engage. You see, there's a time to do partisan politics. And there's a time to look at the national interest and the people's livelihood. I contend, with the greatest respect, that the approach adopted by my colleagues was not aimed at looking at the long-term livelihood of the people who were suffering. And that is my contention. I won't change from that. Because you see, we cannot continue to play politics with everything when the real problems are there. So now let me come to the main. Let me come to the mainstay of my
your focus was long term.
My focus.
But you don't see their point that the short term is very more.
Because in the short term, the regional minister. When the thing happened, the regional minister had already updated us, and even today, he confirmed that they were mobilizing, and the DCs. You know, you have the Alonga, Keta South, and Keta. We have 3 DCs. At the time, the information he had provided to us as a caucus was that those 3 DCs, in fact, had engaged the community and they were doing assessment. Yeah. All right? Those assessments were being done. NADMO cannot move from headquarters and carry 10 mattresses, 10 bags of rice. You do assessment so that you have a comprehensive picture of the situation. This assurance he had given us. I am not saying that they talking about the relief items, they were wrong. I am saying that the approach and the partisan language therein made it difficult for any reasonable person to go along with them. And I was telling them that, look, I have had crisis in Efutu before when I was in opposition. Let me give you a second example. The fisher folks in Efutu, Sharia Ite, she was Minister for Fisheries. I got more outboard motors in Winneba than perhaps people were in government at the time. What did I do? I engaged her. We had situation in Winneba where the fishermen lost their outboard motors. This same tidal wave thing. It's not only limited to Volta region. We have all these problems all over the place. And that is why even government, knowing that fisher folks were losing their livelihood, these almost 10 landed beach projects are being constructed all across, and Keta is benefiting from that. So I was telling my colleagues, let's look at the relief today. However, the relief delayed. The relief items themselves. Well, I have explained to you that the explanation given by those in charge, which was to the effect that...
You accept that explanation?
I am saying that what their explanation was to the effect that they have sent a team to do assessment to give them the full report. That notwithstanding, it had delayed for 24 hours. So Sunday and Monday...
So they were within their right to complain?
I have no objection to that. That is your bona fide as an MP, to raise issues in your backyard. But I'm saying that the approach in doing it would help you get the solution. All right?
So let's come to your point. You were saying long-term focus.
So let me come to the government.
Their point to you was, why is the majority side focusing long-term when the immediate term people are struggling more and dying?
Okay. So on the House floor, we had already empathized. We had in one voice called for the relief items to be delivered. Go and play the tapes. When I took my turn, those were my views. It's there. 2, the Speaker had directed that the Works and Housing Committee should go on a side visit. And in fact, Honorable Esiama had brought a memo to me. And because Majority Leader was not there, I had authorized that some funds to be released for the trip. So it wasn't as if even Parliament itself was not concerned. But we were saying that, look, in spite of all of this, let us now drum home the main solution that will help the people.
Which is what?
Which is the phase 2, the Blekusu phase 2. All right? That is where we were telling them that, look, let us rally support. We are going to have the budget. Can't we work together to get government to put in the budget funds for the phase 2? In any event, again, whilst we are at it, and Evans, this is the point that they got me wrong and they were doing their partisan politics.
Are you blaming the people?
Oh, I come. You see, there's a difference between, Evans, there's a difference between blaming somebody and talking about problems that escalates and aggravates and makes you vulnerable, that exposes you. Now, whilst we are addressing the press, we did some research. We didn't just get up to hold a press conference. We did some research. And all the information, all the articles, some sponsored by UN, some sponsored by University of Ghana, Department of Oceanography, and all that. Some are MPhil thesis. We put all together. And all these articles, and I'm happy that on Saturday, when you got some experts on your news file, they confirmed the position that sun winning was contributing to the escalation. Sun winning is not the cause of tidal waves. That's not what the research findings told us. The findings were to the effect that because of the sun winning situation, the people are further exposed. So our call, and I would want you to play my tape, our call was to our colleagues there. And I said this in these terms, that look, I hereby call on the NDC minority in Parliament to engage, the political stakeholders should engage, all those in leadership there should engage the people. So that whilst we are looking at this problem, they shouldn't further expose themselves. Because if we give you bed sheets, we give you blanket, we give you food. Meanwhile, the Sea Defense Project, the Plekusu phase 2, it won't take a day to complete. It will take 2, 3, 4 years. Whilst we are at it, don't further expose yourself.
By doing what?
By winning sun. If you win the sun, if you expose yourself, and the waves come, they have easy access to destroy you.
That the people who live at the coast, who were actually the victims of this, were the people who were winning the sun?
My brother, Manasseh worked with you for years. This is an article. Sorry, I'm not. Fourth Estate is not Manasseh, but he works with them. So let me be factual. Fourth Estate, on the 18th September, on the 8th of September 2021. This is a documentary, a research work by Seth J. Bokpe. It's there. I will make it available to you. It talks about all that is happening, and the cover picture is there. All right?
So I've seen that story.
No,
they talk about sun winning in Keta.
Right.
They show pictures of people.
That is Fourth Estate. It was part of our research.
But my question to you, it doesn't answer.
Let me. Well,
that the people.
There could be somebody
that says that the
there could be a businessman
winning the sun.
Right. There could be a businessman doing his business, and it's affecting an innocent person. It could also be that some other persons. But mind you, on the 10th of September, the Keta Municipal Assembly.
You admit you're wrong to suggest that the people were.
I said that there's sun winning going on there, and that is why the Keta Assembly.
No, but you said though in the press conference that yes, the members of parliament should also be speaking to their people to stop the sun winning.
Indeed, but the people.
But you don't have no evidence that the people who are winning sun.
Let me give you the evidence.
Were the people who actually lived there.
So let me give you the evidence. If you follow the Fourth Estate report, it clearly tells you about the people who do it. It mentions names that they followed, their vehicle followed. Some people were moving at night, and these are all locals. That is what.
They didn't say that the people who live there are the sun winners. But that's an important point because your challenge to the MPs was.
So granted,
let your people stop.
Evans, granted that those who win the sun are strangers. It's my call on my colleagues there to pay attention to stopping that menace wrong.
That's why it was misconstrued as you blaming the people who are suffering.
You see?
When it could be outsiders with a might to hide crime in mind.
So is that your suggestion that it's outsiders with might?
I don't know. You are making the point.
Well, I'm saying that from what I have here, from Fourth Estate, it leaves my mind in no doubt.
That the people were doing?
It leaves my mind in no doubt that we have sun winning going on there. And the report, if you read it, it explains itself and you find the solution there.
You said we should play something you said, right? I mean, I wanted to play that because people hear you. But let's see Afenyo-Markin at the press conference showing evidence of the sun winning.
So clearly, these are facts. And as a result of the sun winning, matters are getting complicated. So I would plead that much as government is making effort to provide relief, the relief items are themselves not the solution. They are temporary relief after the whole thing has occurred. But then what steps can we take? And this is where I am appealing to stakeholders in that region to work together with those involved in sun winning, because the research is clearly pointing to the fact that these activities are making the people there more vulnerable.
So that's Afenyo-Markin.
So I said that they should work with those involved in sun winning. These were my words. How else can I express this? So that, and I also made a point that these activities are making the people more vulnerable. Now, you see, on the 10th of September, the Keta Municipal Assembly banned sun winning. In fact, they set up an emergency committee. Yes.
On the back of the
Of course.
Of the flag.
And it's been published by City FM online. It's there. If you read this report, this qualitative analysis of shoreline change using medium resolution satellite imagery in Keta, Ghana, you have K. Apienin Ado, P.N. Jason Kwashiga, K.S. Kufobe. At least I know that the name Kwashiga is from Keta.
Must be
at least
from the voter.
At least not from vote. I'm saying that at least I know that the Kwashiga name is from Keta area. At least I know.
Granted.
Now come to page 8 of their report. Page 8, the last paragraph before the acknowledgement. This is what it says. Other factors such as pressure on the scarce land in the area, sun mining and mangrove harvesting in the area have been blamed for making the coast more vulnerable to erosion. More vulnerable to erosion. That was their contention in this paper. This was not different from what Fourth Estate said. Okay? Then we came to another research paper. This one is by Trinity Mensah Senu Jose. This was part of his MPhil. This is a Voltarian, an Anloman, who has done a research. Go to page 29 of his MPhil thesis. Quote, sun mining taking place on the inner continental shelf designed to nourish beaches and coastal dunes may also have a negative environmental impact if it induces near-shore coastal erosion. Other anthropogenic activities such as sun winning and mining and mineral extraction from the beach also exacerbate sediment transport, as these activities destabilize the sediment arrangement, making them vulnerable to wave action. So we have prominent citizens of Volta region. 2013 was when he sounded the warning.
So this is...
Let me finish.
Okay,
Evans,
sure,
I beg you.
Sure.
I beg you.
Finish.
This prominent son, Senu Jose.
You mentioned Jose, yeah.
No, I need to put it there again. Yeah. Mr. Kwashiga is here. It's not Afenyo-Markin. See, who is the first Voltarian to draw the attention of Ghanaians that this thing is making our people more vulnerable. So let's deal with it.
So that's your... just a second. In the video clip we played, we see you show pictorial evidence of what
Evans, I will come there.
No, but that is important because that was the fundamental trigger.
Don't worry. I will come.
No, but I need to address it now.
Deal with it.
We'll come. I mean, see, this is my show, so I'll give you time. I give you all the time. I give you all the time. We see that because I want to go to the heart of why Afenyo-Markin was upset. Afenyo-Markin challenged you that picture you show is a fake picture, not at all having anything to do with Keta, which you portrayed that's you in that picture there. Do you admit that you were wrong in showing that picture and passing it off as from Keta? I'll come to everything else you have.
Don't worry.
I need to answer this question because it's fundamental.
I will address that for you. But let me land on the issue properly. I'll come to that. No, let me land on the issue. Proud to our press conference, the Honorable Sector Minister, Honorable Asensi Boache, had held a press conference to assure Ghanaians of government's commitment
to the
and let me finish the conclusion. I want to read the conclusion to you, just to corroborate our position. Then I'll come back to this.
Yes.
This is what the minister says. While government makes all necessary effort to avert these unfortunate perennial occurrences, I wish to appeal to our coastal residents to avoid any practices that exposes them to vagaries of the rising sea level. There have been reported cases of sand winning, uprooting of mangrove along the coastal stretch, etc. The investment by government cannot yield the needed protection if people continue to engage in such practices. So I am saying that for emphasis, all we sought to do. I'm coming to answer your point.
I want you to answer the question.
I will get to you.
I really don't have time, so let's.
Don't worry, Evans. I am coming.
You've made the point. You've shown the evidence. Which
let the point be properly made. I will answer this. Don't worry.
Land on it.
So I am saying that all we were trying to tell Ghanaians was that we are with our people in Volta. These assurances given by government are in good faith because government was able to get the Blekusu thing done. Now,
I'm sorry,
one of the reports.
I don't have more time.
I am coming to this.
I'll return. Wait. Just give me a second.
Okay,
give me a second.
Okay, sure.
I need to address this. I will come to this before we.
This is linked connected to the picture.
I'll come to that. I'll come to that. Let's return to that video I showed, which is fundamental to the quarrel that you've explained. This picture you show there, Roxing's Afenyo-Markin's point is that you hold it up to say it is Keta showing sand winning and its devastation that is caused to the coastline. He says that is false. Do you admit that that picture was a false picture, not depicting Keta as you portrayed it?
Right. Thank you so much. I wanted to calmly get to that point.
No, let's get to that because of...
I brought this here. Yeah. You didn't have it.
No, that's you.
I brought this. Yeah. And this is what I showed at the press conference. Yeah. Now, as part of our research, we came across an article by coverghana.com.gh. All right? They had published an article on the sand winning situation in the Keta area. Now, they had this, and look at how they've titled it. Sand winning activity in Keta coastal area. Source. And then it's there that they posted February 9, 2020.
You took this from another research document.
That's correct. And this is where they had a problem. So now on Saturday...
But you took it from another research document published by a supposed expert.
Cover Ghana.
No. Sorry. You didn't take it from Cover Ghana. You took it from another research
document. No. This had been published by Cover Ghana.
Yeah.
And we showed it. If you look at their... It's there. They have...
Cover Ghana, yeah.
Yes,
the researcher had written a piece talking about coastal area and Keta in particular and the effects of sand winning. In that document, he produces this and attributes it to Cover Ghana. That is the factual basis of this picture.
No, you've gotten it wrong. The description is wrong. No.
True.
No. You see...
Cover Ghana did the story.
Correct. And if you go to the...
But the researcher had done research, which you had referenced.
Which, yes.
That's
and
what I'm saying.
I'm saying that the story by Cover Ghana
had this underneath.
Yes.
Reasonably, and now let me come to the point. Reasonably, I couldn't have contemplated that Cover Ghana having done a publication and having correctly labeled it and given a date.
Let me show you something. The reason why
I'll come there.
No, give me a second. The reason why what I'm saying is important is you have here sun winning activity in Keta coastal area. Source Cover Ghana. This isn't the Cover Ghana story. This is the researcher who, in his research, was telling you the source.
Wait.
And the source is Cover Ghana. He was telling you, I've done the research. This is Keta. But where I took this picture from is Cover Ghana.
No.
Sorry. That's only what it is.
No, because
sun winning activity in Keta coastal area. Source. Cover Ghana story is a different story. They originated it, but the researcher is telling you where he got the picture to tell him it is a Keta coast. That's what it is. Other than that, he won't tell you where the source is. If they had done the story, they won't be saying the source and they'll put their name there. You know this. When you are citing somebody, that is when you say source. You know this.
Evans, you see, look at this thing.
I see.
Cover Ghana on Saturday. You know, on Friday when all this brouhaha started, I had a duty to do further interrogation of the Cover Ghana website, which published this. We went to Cover Ghana. You know, I printed this. This was the information we had on their page, Google Earth, proud to Saturday. Now, on Saturday afternoon, in the office, when we were discussing this matter, Cover Ghana had pulled down the picture. That's why I printed this. So if you go on their website now, you realize that it has error. And as of today, they still don't have, they have pulled down the picture. And I presume that upon hearing the rage and seeing the rage, they themselves had an issue with the authenticity of what they had put there to cover their article. Now, to the extent
are you blaming Cover Ghana?
No, to the extent that we had relied on, to the extent that I had relied on the publication, and as we speak, the source itself has pulled it down. I sincerely apologize for relying on this. You get my point? Because Cover Ghana had relied. Cover Ghana.
So what you're saying that you went public to tell people and you show them evidence of someone in Keta,
a picture,
and you didn't check.
Come on, Evans.
But that was a fundamental document you showed that triggered the controversy.
Evans.
Roxanne Dafemepo was right, wasn't he?
Evans, what is the test? Would you reasonably anticipate that an article with a picture, which picture gives dates and source, will be false? You wouldn't reasonably, and especially so when the publication had been there for months. We checked all of that. But you see, when this matter came up, when people were challenging the picture attached to the article, the source itself, if you go to their website, they have pulled it down. If they have pulled it down, my responsibility now is to apologize for relying on it.
You apologize to who exactly?
Well, I have held a press conference.
You apologize to the people of Keta?
The people of Keta, that this has been shown.
Relying this as them winning.
It is not there. If the source has pulled it down, it means that they themselves have question with it. You get my point?
So I'm asking, you're apologizing to who?
One, this thing is out there to Ghana. Ghanaians have seen this. The source is here. The source has pulled it down. So to all Ghanaians who had the opportunity of seeing this picture as being Keta sun winning activity. One. Two, the very people in the area who this picture depicted them to be doing sun winning with this. That apology also goes to them, in all fairness, because the source upon which I relied on, if as it were, Cover Ghana still had this, then I would have cause to say that, well, my source still maintains. So,
but you will still be wrong.
It is possible.
No, you will be fundamentally, factually wrong.
If they got it wrong.
And they are wrong.
Well, they've pulled it down.
They had this.
They are emphatically wrong. This is Sierra Leone.
I am saying that.
Do you know that this is Sierra Leone?
I wouldn't know.
Let me show you.
I wouldn't know.
Let me show you. This is important because we are learning.
Sure.
I want to show you that this is indeed not Keta, right? So we tried to check this, Honorable, because we know the controversy this has generated is one of those that people have raised.
So we divert from the main.
No, we haven't, because it's important. For me, it's important that we serve the people, and you've apologized, and so we just have to settle this. For anybody who likes to use this picture in the future, because they've had Afenyo-Markin use it, to know that this is Google, by the way, just to explain what I'm doing. This is Google. Google allows you, if you have a picture you are not sure of, to do what they call reverse image search. You put a picture in Google, and then this is a picture. Google will show you where the picture originated from, and it says show picture mark. That's it. Now, Google is going to tell us what the problem is with this picture and tell you what the source is. Now, Google tells you all the related images to the picture. Now, let's go back to 2013. 2013, right? This is the first time this picture, and this, by the way, is February 1, 2013. Google says first time this picture was used was on 1st of February 2013. Here you are, Honorable. And it says, sun winning is fast eroding beaches near Sierra Leonean capital, Freetown. On Hamilton Beach, up to 40 trucks can be lined up at any one time to be loaded with sand. January 2013, and it's attributed, in fact, this is the originator of the picture, Tommy Trenchard Erin. Erin, by the way, is the United Nations News Agency. Honorable, so that is the original source of this. And for everybody who wants to use this picture, and people have used it since you published it, Honorable, this is not Keta. This is Sierra Leone. If you want more evidence, Google gives you more evidence. Because again, after the 1st of February publication, other websites picked it up. 4th of February 2013, again, we see another website picked it up. But the thing about all these websites is that they all accurately attribute this. Tourism revival threatening by massive sand wind. Again, Tommy Trenchard Erin. And this story again is talking about Sierra Leonean capital, Freetown. So fundamentally, Honorable says he's apologizing. But this is important for us as a people to note that you can't use it to refer to Keta because it's not. And Google settles the debate for all of us. You can go through this all the time and you see that. So it can be a 2013 picture, can be a 2021 picture, as evidence shows. Honorable. So that is the evidence that shows that Cover Ghana is categorically wrong, and you used a wrong picture to tell the people that sand winning was happening in Keta.
We are in a public discourse.
Yeah.
Nothing should stop you from saying I'm sorry when the evidence is that you got it wrong. All right? And on this score, on the picture, I've told you that I did further due diligence when the matter came into dispute. Okay. And I noticed on Saturday afternoon, whilst we were in office, to delve deep into this, they had pulled it down. So I have no reason to rely on it. And it has also been confirmed through our own effort, through your effort, that indeed the picture is Sierra Leone. And they wrongly placed it, pasted it on their story, and then, labeled it wrongly. Okay? We can't stretch this any further.
What about Roxanne Dafiamekpo, who was challenging you during the press conference that this is wrong, this can't be Keta? Don't you owe him an apology too?
I don't owe Roxanne an apology, and I'll explain to you why. Okay. You don't disrupt somebody's press conference by snatching his document, by shouting. That is not parliamentary. That is not how we operate. Clearly. I mean, he knows this. When NDC is doing a press conference, we're going to go there. At least, when we did the fact check, there are pictures in Manasseh's Fort Estate article and documentary. Has it been challenged? Yeah. These were not the only pictures that we had. All the articles. And you see, Evans, if I meant mischief, I wouldn't hand over the research report to them. As the media, everything we had, I gave everything to them. Assuming I was holding it, I had folded it.
and I wasn't showing, I'm sure you wouldn't have the opportunity to verify and validate. So we meant well in the discourse, and under the circumstance, we put all our cards on the table that we have come up with these research findings. We have this information. Media, take it. It's as a result of it that they've said, oh, one of the several facts you gave is not accurate. I admit. I concede on that score.
What about
but the main issue still remain.
What about the timing of the long-term solution?
It's the way it is. You see, Evans, it is the way the miscommunication has been misunderstood.
Was it the right time? Many won't disagree with you that if sound winning was happening there, by all means, point us to it. But was the timing right? You can do the right thing at the wrong time and it will be wrong. Was the timing right when people were still in water, in need of relief? In fact, on Friday evening, NANMO told us one of the hardest hit places they admit they still haven't served. Were you saying, was the timing right to be raising issues of sound winning when people were still in dire need of relief?
Evans.
With hindsight, would you have done the same at the same time?
Evans, you have played my tape.
Yeah.
You have played what I said. The Ghanaians have watched. The issue of whether the timing was appropriate or not, I leave it to Ghanaians to judge. If we are not bold as leaders, we will never find solution to the fundamental problems our people face. They will always come back and hit us. I said on the House floor that relief items, they are necessary, but they are temporal. At the press conference again, I called on my colleagues on the other side that let's work together and get a solution for our people. Meanwhile, these are the things that further expose them. These are the things that make them vulnerable. Can we at around the same time also take steps to discourage that? In any event, my call was premised on an earlier decision taken by the Keta Municipal Assembly. Mind you, that the Keta Municipal Assembly has formed a 15-member committee to immediately enforce the ban on sound winning, because they immediately identified this as a fundamental problem. So if I am premising my call on that, how else must I put it? How else will I have to draw people's attention that, look, I'm giving you blanket today, but you know what? There's this other problem. So whilst I'm giving you the blanket and I'm supposed to get you a FC defense wall, please, let's also avoid this one. I think that as a citizen of the land, making this call on my own people and calling on the leadership there to work together with me and others to resolve this will not be it's not far-fetched.
I mean, so now you raised this matter, obviously the concern was that you were being insensitive. You disagree you were being sensitive?
Well, you see,
that's a minority accusation against you that you were being insensitive.
At the beginning of this interview, I told you that our colleagues were looking at the problem with a partisan eye. So they will continue to do that. You see, if you talk and a reasonable person decides not to pay attention to the substance in what you are saying, things get out of hand. I have told you, I've related what is happening there to Efutu. How in opposition I got what I needed to get for my people. I was in opposition. If I make the call to them today that Peter Amewu and I are known efforts in frontline MPP government, let us sit down. I don't want to publicly...
You speaking?
I don't want to publicly talk about effort we've made behind closed doors. But I'm saying that my colleagues are acting in bad faith. And I say so with a lot of pain in my heart.
Why?
I say so with a lot of pain in my heart.
Why?
Because this problem, we all empathize with the situation. But in getting a solution, you don't try to use party politics to solve it. Why? NDC had cause to complain about some abandoned projects, but they never cited the Blekusu one. Blekusu has been completed. Our people are suffering. I tell you that, colleagues, budget is coming. We have time. Let us use this opportunity to work together and get a permanent solution and get the phase 2 to commence. Meanwhile, let us also talk to our people that, look, the sun winning activities happening there, it's further exposing you.
But,
and in so doing, with respect, in so doing, you say I'm insensitive, you call me names. Really?
But Mr. Markin,
what have I done?
You quoted the minister, and you did so because, of course, he's the ultimate.
It is sad, you know.
But if what you say is true, and indeed there's evidence there's sun winning happening there.
Well, you called expert Evans. I want you to be fair. On News File, Joy FM, I know you do your research. It's as a result of your research I know all the documents I've given. You have interrogated all of them.
I just said
it's only this one you had issue. And I'm taking responsibility.
But I just said.
But tell our people.
No, but I just said.
2 out of the 3 experts are from Volta region.
Listen to the phrasing.
All the research.
If you listen to my phrasing, I said, no, you're a lawyer. You're a lawyer. So
my grammar is not.
I said, if what you claim is true, and indeed there's evidence that there's sun winning, which is what I said.
No, but put it right. No, that there is sun winning. There's evidence. Why do you have to circumlocute and waffle and all that?
I am first stating what you have said. That I can only say you claim. And then I tell you what my independent, that I can verify.
So tell my colleague MPs, tell them
my substantive
that the expert you had, the expert, they were saying that you are from Volta, look at what you are saying. But all the research reports were conducted by Voltarians, and they were saying that this is a problem. Let's look at it.
Here's my substantive question. Your party is in power. If indeed this illegal activity is happening, they must take the responsibility of failure to enforce the law, because sun winning is an illegal activity.
Evans, you are doing an overstretch. No, but for the purpose of this discussion. Isn't that a fair
question to probe? And that as the deputy majority leader, in addition to the press conference, you must certainly call on the authorities to enforce the law.
Already, the district assembly, from the regional minister's briefing, the district assembly had taken that step. I was calling
on... You were only taking that step on the back of the tide.
I was
not before, but they knew this was happening. You see, it's a failure of leadership. Okay, you don't agree? Seriously, but it's enforcement. Isn't it fair? At least at the local assembly level.
Evans, first of all, my colleague MPs are in a state of self-denial. They are denying this issue of sun winning. You are aware of that. You are aware. They are denying.
But then the facts won't support.
I'm saying...
The facts won't support.
So tell them that the facts won't support their denial.
I'm interviewing you, so I can only ask...
So tell them...
I can only ask the question when I get them.
But tell them... Tell them that they are all out there. I mean, I've seen them writing all manner of things on Facebook.
You haven't answered my question.
But the point is that...
You admit there's been a failure of leadership, at least at the local assembly level.
My call on them, I don't want to do blame game here.
No, but
I am saying,
let them be collective. To your colleagues in Parliament. What about the people who are supposed to enforce the law that prevents it from happening? I haven't heard you say a word about the district assembly failure to enforce this and only waiting to ban it when it's already banned by law anyway, after the fact, when people are in distress.
I have called for a collective action by all stakeholders, the political actors, the opinion leaders. We know we have laws in this country. Enforcement is a challenge. So let me reiterate that the time has come. If in the past it wasn't being done properly, now is the time for all stakeholders, including my colleague MPs, to sit with...
What about those who are supposed to enforce and crack the whip and arrest people?
Well, enforcement, the assembly, the police. But if all stakeholders are working together to educate the people, to discourage them, that this thing will expose you. Why? On Saturday,
so enforce the law and also come together.
Samson quoted Professor Kofi Awono of blessed memory. They've all talked about sun winning, affecting the people, further exposing. But why are you not letting that fact be visible?
Which is why you stated for 1 hour.
No, but that is why you should say so.
Trust me, I'll get one of your other colleagues in and I'll ask them the same question.
Sure. With emphasis.
With emphasis. But I'm grateful, Mr. Afenyo-Markin.
Well, the pleasure is mine. But let me, before we sign off...
I have 30 seconds.
No problem. Before we sign off, once again, render an unqualified apology. We reasonably relied on this picture in an article. The source has since pulled down, and I apologize. And it was not intended to mislead.
If it was so, we wouldn't have handed over all the documents. That notwithstanding, I call on my colleagues in Volta. Let us work together and ensure a lasting peace. We need the Blekusu phase 2. Stop the blame game. Don't do partisan politics. It's about people's lives.
Alexander Afenyo-Markin is a deputy majority leader. I'm grateful that you joined me. Enjoy the rest
Thank
of
you
the
so
evening.
much. I appreciate it.